Now, when we imagine the future, it usually involves flying cars or hoverboards, but our next guest says it's not the weird and wacky inventions that we need to prepare for, but rather the old ones we're phasing out. There's something we use every day. But in 10 years' time, credit cards will be a thing of the past.
Here's your account's been closed.
What? You know what? I'm going to take those scissors.
The same goes for car parks.
Where's the car?
Well, I thought it was here.
You don't know where we parked?
And even learning a new language.
Je m'appelle Claude.
Je t'appelle Blue.
That's according to futurist Michael McQueen, who says a number of everyday products and services are on the brink of extinction. And it leaves us asking the question, what more does the future hold?
Roads? We don't need roads. It's something Michael discusses in his new book, How to Prepare Now for What's Next. And Michael's with us this morning. Michael, this is all fascinating. So tell us a bit about what it is you do and then how you made these predictions.
Yeah, it's a strange thing. I get that label futurist, which is a sort of a new term, apparently so. And I've been doing this for 14 years before it was sexy to be a futurist. But it's interesting looking at what's coming and trying to distinguish between disruptions and distractions, because a lot of trend stuff is hyperbole. It's over the top. So trying to distill what is the stuff that's actually going to impact the future.
Yeah.
And then a lot of my work is helping policymakers, business leaders figure out what do you need to do now to get ready for the stuff that's coming. So it's a really interesting space to work in.
And a really important space to be in as well, because when we think about going forward, you suggested that we will live in a world without car parks.
Yeah.
So just explain how this will be and when you estimate it will happen.
It's a bit of a spinner. Even just talking before we went on air, I mean, that's that whole thing of how do you get your head around a world where you don't drive the vehicle? And the car park one is related to autonomous vehicles. So the smartest people in this space right now estimate 2027 will be when they become somewhat mainstream. Not far away.
10 years.
So, I mean...
I told you that's where our kids won't learn to drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Having a licence will disappear. In fact, I read a prediction recently, in 30 years, owning a car will be like owning a horse today.
Yeah,
you do it if it's a hobby or a passion, but not as a mode of transportation. So you won't pay to park your car because a driverless car will drop you at work and then take off and either go home and wait for you to get finished, or maybe after it drops you, goes into a pool of other driverless vehicles, Uber-style, ferrying people from point A to point B, earning you cash while you're at work.
Because you only use your car for like 4% of the time.
That's exactly
4%?
it. Yep.
Is that right?
Get some money out of that thing.
That's it. That's the goal.
All right, well, what about credit cards? Because you're saying that we will be replacing that with our smile. Is this like the facial recognition technology?
Yes, David. You walk in and they see...
I'm awake.
No, it's exciting. Go ahead.
It's amazing, isn't it? So last year in China, at a KFC store of all places, Alipay, which is the big Chinese payment gateway company, they launched this service called Pay by Smile. So in other words, you order what you want from KFC, walk up to a screen, it recognises your face, charges your stored credit card, and there's no need to even reach for your wallet.
Oh my God.
And we're seeing
that. I want that.
It's the same stuff happening with Amazon Go.
Sonia is dead.
Yeah.
She's passed on to the future. She does no longer wants to be here. She wants to just walk in the shop, smile and say, I like that dress. Bing. Yeah.
Ka-ching. Wow. What about learning a second language? Because that's something, you know, that people are travelling now. The world's becoming a smaller place. We're travelling internationally more often. But you're saying that learning a second language could be a thing of the past.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've got a 2-year-old and I think, you know, should we get him into Mandarin classes? And the reality is... Probably
necessary.
Not, because the technology that's interesting in this regard are these in-ear pieces made by what's called Translate One-to-One. If anyone wants to Google that, it's really interesting. Exactly that. So the way they work is, if you're speaking German, I will hear you in English, I'll reply in English, you'll hear me in German in real time. Oh, it's extraordinary to think of the impact of that. It's just amazing.
Perhaps the worst of all is that call centres are set to become even more automated. Now,
correct.
I'm not down with that as much.
Yeah. Well, the reality is when you deal with human beings in call centres, it's often robotic anyway. And what will happen is robots will take the place of that. Exactly. And chatbots are the technology moving into that space. They're already a big part of what we do with companies as we interact. But Gartner's prediction is 85% of customer service roles will be taken over in the next 5 years by chatbots. So that's AI-powered technology that you chat with online. You think you're talking to a human the whole time. It's a piece of technology joking with you, responding to you. It's fascinating.
No, I'm not buying that one. Sorry, 4 out of 5 today, Michael. Thank you very much.
Hey, Michael, I've got to thank you because I've never seen Sonia so nerdy. It's been wonderful to see.
It looks like a great book. How to prepare now for what's next. It's in all good bookstores. Thank you again.
My pleasure. Thanks, guys.